these video camera batteries lick balls. It says that you get 2 or 3 hours, but you really get like minutes. All right. So, can you guys see? Can you guys see the problem here? Wah wah wah. Wah wah wah. You want to focus? It doesn't want to focus. It's all right. We all know what's going on here. So, yeah, if you guys remember, I had a good 1/8 of an inch of clearance on that bad boy before we started welding. But it looks as though it pulled, which makes sense because I welded the back of the runners all first, which would have pulled it whoop in this way, whoop, or whoop that way. So it's just barely touching the ear right on that corner right there. So what I'm going to do, that just shows you, I always tell people like, hey, I mean, I could literally see the flange lift off the aluminum when I was welding the flange, the actual runners onto the flange, and it needs to be surfaced. You have to go back, put everything across the belt sander, make it nice and flat. When you're dealing with especially stainless just warps. But what I'm going to do is I think that I'm going to try to mark that little spot and see if I can't press a little dimple right there where that thing's touching. It's just barely touching, and if I can get like 60-80 thou, you know, of dimpling, then that'll be good. Now I know I can't just cut that ear off, grind that thing down, whatever, and I'll probably do that too, just in addition to, so I get more clearance. But when I blow the engine up, and I probably will, or somebody in the future buys this thing and they want to change it to a bigger engine, I don't want that to be a problem, because it'd be real easy to not notice that. Bolt everything up, and then you have a little bit of exhaust. It would be just a terribly little small amount of exhaust leak, and you'd be like, what's going on? I don't understand why this isn't working. And it would take a bit of sleuthing, I think, to figure out what's going on. So if we can just fix the manifold from the get-go, then that will save that. So we'll try that to dimple it. I've also come to the conclusion that I'm just going to make it all the way, one solid piece from the manifold to the turbo, no disconnectors or whatever. We're just going to have to, if you want to take out the manifold, for whatever reason you take out the manifold, you're going to have to take off the water pump and the air conditioner. Mostly it looks like the air conditioner. I think the water pump might be able to stay in place, but you'll have to take the housing and move it out of the way. But it's a trade-off. I think it's a good trade-off for the fact that I have a stable, you know, one piece. All those welds were super beefy, super thick. So I have a good feeling that this is going to take the weight of that little turbo, no problem. And I won't have to worry about V-bands or disconnection points, two-hole or three-hole clamps or any of that mess, vibrating or moving loose. I'll just bolt it up and it'll all work. And then I can't really think of a reason why I'd have my turbo manifold out of the car unless I was doing something drastic like, I don't know, cam swapping, head swapping, something like that. And in those cases you're probably taking off the accessory drive stuff anyway. So I think that that's going to be the best trade-off for that. It bugs me. I wish that I could get it in and out, but a lot of times this stuff is just the lesser of two evils, and you just do the best you can with what you got. I am super excited about how much room for spark plug. I can change spark plugs literally all day long. And that, oh, look at my, people ask me all the time, like, Mike, are these are ceramic. I bet they break all the time. This thing is like 3 years old, and I've dropped it all the time. You saw I just picked it up off. I heard it fall. It was like a thunk. Look at that. There it is. Still in one piece. So yeah, jump on over to my website, monkeyfabgarage.com, and pick yourself up one of these GLS Fab cups. These number 16s are fabulous. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys what we came up with. This reaches from the where you guys saw us leave off on the manifold up to the turbo. It's a little bit narrow, like it'll leave a little bit of a gap because I'm using the billet, these boys, guys, I sell on the website. I sell these guys, but I only have 2.5 inch tube and 3-inch tube. So the 3-inch was just a little bit wide, which isn't that bad of a deal. But it'll work fine. This guy is done, and it turned out pretty well. So this is what you're gonna see. Let's see. Can you see? Can you see? It's pretty decent. I did 2 passes. I think I found out that the penetration's halfway good. Full penetration. So, you know, that with a cap, it's going to be pretty thick, strong stainless. The bad thing about stainless is just it moves so much under heat. But this should be good. Now we got a VS Racing. See? Bam, VS Racing. Also available on monkeyfabgarage.com. And this bad boy is just going to go like this. So this will end up with the turbo. This is coming from the header. And this guy is just going to come off of here and just point down. So we just need to cut I need to go check it in the vehicle, make sure I'm not hitting sway bars or steering linkage or anything. But basically just need to mark out where I need to cut my hole, what I need to do to get this to that. And 144 will be plenty for what we got. I think we'll probably be running like no more than 14, 15 pounds max. So that's where we're at. Just giving you guys the update, and we'll go stand under a car with these things and just stare. And a lot of staring involved in fabrication. A lot of hours in this guy, probably a couple hours of welding on just this. And this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of pipe welded together. I don't know how people do pie cuts. So annoying, so time consuming. Got this piece cut out. All it is, got kind of knocked in here. So it's just a 1.5 inch nominal Schedule 10 tubing that I cut at like 30 degrees. And then what you do is you hold the cut up to your bin. Be like, is that enough? And where's this going? It's going like this. Yeah, cut that just so it's about there, and then just take it to the end of the sander, the belt sander, and just put that cope. So you get that little cope in it. And that gives you, it's a 3-inch cope, so we're a little bit, we got a little bit more meat on the sides than we need, so we'll just go back over there and just kind of walk it down until we're perfect. And this guy is sitting nice and flush. Just go put it back in the car, put everything together, check it, make sure that it is where we need it, and then we'll draw a circle, cut the hole in this thing with plasma cutter, just like I showed you how I cut the holes in the other thing. Die grind, cut it smaller, die grind it out to size, tack this guy up. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You get it, right? We got this fancy hole blasted in it, and we're gonna put this guy on there. So we have wastegates. Hooray! Alright, so got that guy all done up. Got a big hole for the wastegate, for wastegating things. Now we just gotta tack this up, which will not be easy. And I have no help, like usual. Alright, so we have our header buoy, the little manifold we made that has plenty of rooms for spark plug wires and all that good stuff. Good. We've made the piece that goes up to the turbo, and it is good. We've checked the wastegate and make sure that everything is placed well, and it is. The problem is, like I said before, we're gonna have to remove the water pump and the air conditioner to get this in and out, which is not how I wanted to do it, but it's a compromise I have to make. I don't suppose you'll be changing that out unless you're doing something like swapping a head, so whatever. It is what it is. We still got to solve the great mystery of how we're going to run this water pump as well, but we'll get to it. What I'm saying all this is to get to, I'm going to go ahead and pull all this stuff off. The alternator, the water pump, and the air conditioner, and just set it aside. We know that everything fits where it needs to be. That's why I had it on there in the first place, and I want to be able to get stuff in and out. And I didn't bevel the end of the manifold, so I should have did that before I hung it in there, because then I could just tack this damn thing in place, take out all that stuff and weld it up and we'd be done. But I didn't, so now we have to take it all out, bevel the edge, put it back on, realign everything, and then tack it in place. I told you I was going to do this, and I did it. Pulled out all the front accessory drive stuff, and wow, you talk about room for activities, huh? That's why you have to put everything in when you're designing stuff, because you start thinking yourself, oh yeah, there's lots of room here. There's really not. There's really not. Your room escapes relatively quickly on you. I did try to cut this little bolt off right, yeah. And apparently this, in 1978, grade 8 bolts were really grade 8 bolts, because I just trashed 2 Sawzall blades and I only made about halfway through. So I think I'll wait till I get the engine out and just give it the old with the cutting disc, because the Sawzall blades are too expensive to just trash. But yeah, we're gonna get that manifold out, bevel it, put it back in, everything I just said. So that guy, oh no, my speaker just fell off and it's resting on my forehead. So yeah, basically this guy will get tacked in, and that's what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is get everything lined up so we can do some tacky boys between the flange up there and the pipe over here. So we got to get everything lined up perfectly to do so. I'm on Struggle Street trying to get this tack in. You guys wouldn't believe it. I would have recorded the thing, but I realize that people drop in to watch YouTube to watch people fail and struggle. It's just something with human nature. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing. But yeah, so if you guys watch these YouTube channels and things just always go together like butter, click, 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 click. They don't always go that way. I mean, sometimes it's just pure Struggle Street. I'll show you. Here is, let's see. Here is what it looks like trying to get this thing tacked. I just had, I had no help, and it's just myself, so I just needed it to, I just needed the metal to fuse. But no matter what I tried, it just ran away from each other the whole time. And literally, I spent, I don't know, probably a half an hour, 45 minutes speaking in tongues, and yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Let's drop this thing down. Let's take a look at what we got. Because we got our, from the top, it tacked just fine. So I just was trying to get it from the bottom for the longest time. This is just one of those deals that says like, hey, if things aren't working, then maybe try to approach it from a different angle. So I dropped this guy down, tacked on the top, and it went together no problem. Which is actually, at one point I threw a temper tantrum and used the downpipe piece to smack some things that are no longer with us, and it mashed the end of the pipe. So I put in my pipe expander to try just to get it round again. I didn't think it would have enough oomph to push Schedule 10, which is like 1/8 of an inch thick, but it pushed it no problem. So I actually used the my exhaust expander to bump it out just a little bit so it fits the flange a whole lot better. So there's almost no gap now. And we got this guy all tacked on and holding up. It actually would hold up the turbo if we let go of the thing, and the exhaust pipe, it's not wobbling all over the place now, and it's not hitting anything, which is good. So yeah, this is where we are at, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, those tacks on the bottom that blew out, I'll be able to fix that. It's not really that big of a deal. Just the easiest way to do it is just kind of sand it flat so it's all smooth again, and then just go a little hot with the root pass, and let it kind of fill itself up. Use a little extra filler, no big deal. So so our turbo is hung by the downpipe with care. No, our turbo is hung by the up pipe with care, in hopes that boosties will soon be there. Yeah, so we gotta pull this guy all apart yet once again, and weld this up, and our manifold will be done. Hooray. That took forever.